This is Wilmington Weekly with Matt Purkey. Hi, welcome back to Wilmington Weekly. I'm Matt Purkey. This is your Wednesday preview for the Thursday, February 19th council meeting. My goal here is simple. I want you to know what's on the agenda, what matters, and where you may want to lean in if you're attending in person or watching online later. There is a 6 o'clock workshop followed by a 7 o'clock regular meeting. Let's go ahead and walk through both. So the workshop opens with routine business, including approval of minutes. There are two presentations. The first is swearing in of a police sergeant. That's always a great thing. Also listed is Trevor Shoemaker, director of Main Street Wilmington, the nonprofit focused on preserving and developing our historic downtown district. The agenda lists the presentation as parking signs, which appears to reference a prior presentation about updating and removing time-limited parking signage in the downtown corridor. After presentations, the workshop shifts into legislation review under new business. Finance Committee will review items that will later appear in the regular meeting, including supplemental appropriations and a resolution covering expenses incurred in prior fiscal year. Workshops are typically where more detailed questions surface, particularly on budget matters. As always, keep in mind there are no public comments during the workshop. The regular meeting follows the standard structure: call to order, roll call, pledge of allegiance, moment of silence, approval of agenda and minutes, followed by public comment. If you plan to speak, this is your opportunity. Elected and appointed officials will then provide reports, including the mayor, auditor, law department, service director, and safety director. For old business, Finance Committee has 3 readings on Resolution R2605, accepting a grant from Clinton County Solid Waste District for curbside recycling. Under Judiciary, there are multiple third readings, meaning these items are eligible for final passage. First is Ordinance 02601, amending classification and salary ranges for certain city employees. In practical terms, this ordinance aligns the city's compensation structure with positions that are currently being filled. I've been anticipating some public discussion on this topic, as mentioned in prior episodes, though there has not been any additional discussion yet. And because this ordinance does not include any emergency language, if it passes, it would take effect 30 days beyond passage. Next, there are 2 annexation ordinances totaling approximately 544 acres. Annexation brings property into the city and places it under city jurisdiction for zoning, taxation, utilities, those types of things. Following the annexation are 4 zoning changes on third reading. Ordinances 02604 through 02607 represent 4 parcels totaling approximately 544 acres along State Route 730, McGinn Road, and US 68 South. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's the same parcels being annexed. Now, these parcels have been at the center of a discussion related to a proposed Ardent project, which has been described in public meetings as a potential data center development. Thursday is the final legislative step in that process. If these ordinances pass, the zoning is approved and the city has cleared the path for data center development on these properties under the current framework. A yes vote greenlights the zoning necessary for a data center project. As structured today, and without additional incentives or abatements, the matter would not return to council for further approval. Ardent could, in the future, sell the property to another developer who may pursue incentives or abatements. That would require a separate public process and council consideration. But based on the information currently before council, that is not a part of the proposal being voted on. There's been substantial public comment on this issue, and that will likely continue during the public comment portion of this meeting. Some members of council have indicated in prior discussion that they believe they have the information needed to vote. Thursday will show you how they weigh that information alongside any final public input. From there, we move into new business. Under Finance, there are 3 readings on Ordinance O-2612, making supplemental appropriations. These adjustments affect multiple funds, largely related to workers' compensation and Bureau of Employment Services expenses across departments, along with a transfer from the Taxi Reserve Fund. Because this ordinance includes emergency language, if passed, it would take effect immediately upon approval by the County Budget Commission, rather than after the standard 30-day period. Also under Finance is Resolution R-2607, covering expenses incurred in prior fiscal year. Under Judiciary is the first reading of Resolution R-2608, authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a real estate purchase contract for the property located at 769 Rombach Avenue, commonly known as the former East End Elementary. The attached purchase agreement sets the purchase price at $285,000. It provides the city with a 45-day inspection period, which allows the city to terminate the agreement during that period based on inspections, title review, environmental review, or other conditions. The agreement references the city's intended use of the property, but that use is not defined within the document itself. As this is a first reading, it will begin the legislative process on this matter. Under Reports to Council, the Auditor will present the January 2026 financial report. Now, if your focus is budget adjustments or the East End property purchase, the Finance and Judiciary portions of the meeting will probably stand out the most. If your focus is annexation and zoning related to the Ardent project, pay close attention to that old business section. That's where those final votes will occur. And as I mentioned prior, I anticipate pretty robust public comment leading up to that point. As always, my role here is to help you understand the structure and the stakes so you can form your own conclusions. The workshop starts at 6, the regular meeting starts at 7. Both take place in council chambers. Thanks for listening. I'll be back this weekend with a recap and some reflections on how the votes unfolded.